Welcome, everyone, to 2023. This is our first episode of the Financial Advisors Workshop for the year, and we're excited to get back talking to great financial advisors throughout the country. And well, we found an amazing lady to talk to today, that's for sure. So we're going to have a conversation with Liz Miller, and Liz has got a storied career, and she's now the founder and president of Summit Place Financial Advisors in New Jersey. So Liz, welcome to the Financial Advisors Workshop.
Thank you. Great to be here.
So I talk about your storied career, Liz, because your path to becoming a financial advisor wasn't straight from college. And you did go to Wharton, I might add, which is one of the top business schools in the country. So Liz, could you tell everybody what you did before you became a financial advisor? It's really fascinating.
Sure. I like to tell everyone, I spent the first half of my career in front of a computer. Out of my undergraduate at Wharton, I went to Wall Street, as did so many of my peers. And I was a mergers and acquisition analyst at First Boston, which I hear the name's going to be resurrected. It was a very exciting time to be in mergers and acquisitions at First Boston. They were a very innovative shop at the time. After the 2-year program, I was asked to stay on and help them launch an internal proprietary trading desk, which was really one of the very early hedge fund kinds of things. And in that role, I started learning how to become a security analyst, how to do research on investments, how to build portfolios and recommend investments. And so that sort of moved my path off of investment banking and into the securities and markets world even more. I really enjoyed that. I went on from there to become an assistant and eventually portfolio manager for Oppenheimer Mutual Funds, where I assisted on a large fund and got to manage a fund of my own. And that was, again, head down in front of the computer all day long, very performance focused, but really learning how to do research and put together a portfolio and a fund and manage it. And I looked up one day and realized I clearly had this knowledge, this talent. I was good at it. As a female, it was really exciting to be a money manager because at a time where there was a question of how fully valued you were, when you were managing money, no one can argue with results. So that was a really great place to be for a woman at that time. But I was feeling like I was not interacting with anyone. And I thought I'd like to do this more for the good of some real people and not nameless, faceless fund investors.
Right.
So I moved to, at that time, what we called, asset management firms. And that was a time in the industry where there were many small and mid-sized asset management firms. And the pensions and endowments of the world liked finding unique small firms to manage pots of their money. Today, you would only go to the big guys. JP Morgan manages for you, Bank America. But back then, you had independent asset management firms. And so I went to one of those as a portfolio manager. I managed a lot of institutional money, and I managed some individual money too. And I got to regularly interact with the people involved, which was kind of that stepping stone to eventually becoming an advisor down the road.
Great. That's tremendous background. So you did more research work then also at that investment management firm, the small firm, or
I did. Okay. We all did research there, and eventually I did become a partner of that firm, and I was in charge of all the equity research activity at the firm.
Really? Okay. So that seems like quite an exalted career right there, to be the chief investment officer of an investment management firm. So congratulations. So then you made a change. So tell us the evolution to leave the big time money management world to becoming a financial advisor.
So part of the time that I was there, after a few years there, I got involved with some peers at CFA Society New York, which used to be called New York Society of Security Analysts. And there was a call for people interested in what we were calling private wealth management. And about 8 of us came together and started talking about the wide range of needs that these individual clients we had needed, much more so than just managing the portfolio. And this was the time where you still very much had the firm financial advisor or financial consultant wasn't really being used. Merrill was the first to say financial consultant. And that person in that role was still very much a commissioned salesperson. And then you had people in our role where we were managing portfolios. And there was this gap in between. And I was starting to see it more and more at my own firm, where individual clients would come to me with questions beyond their portfolio. And they would say, I want to figure out how to loan money to my son for his first home. The broker says they can't help me, and maybe I should talk to my attorney. My estate planning attorney says no. And I don't know who to go to. Can you help me with this? And I saw more and more of that over the years. And we reached a point at the firm I was at that was trying to figure out a transition from the original founders. It wasn't going the way I hoped. It was going to drag on a lot. To be blunt, I was a 40-something female professional on Wall Street. And if you are a female on Wall Street, you've got limited time to be employable at that point. It just was, and unfortunately still is the way it was. So I said, I can wait this out, but if it doesn't work out in my favor, I may have a hard time getting another position on Wall Street at my level. And as I said, I saw this growing need for this range of advice. I'd always been talking about it internally. And I decided to launch a firm that was focused then completely on those clients that kind of had these more complex needs, and someplace where we would help coordinate all their different professionals as well as do the internal investment management.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So then you wrote a book. Did you write the book before you founded the firm?
No, I'd been kicking around the book around the time I started the firm, and I had to back burner it, but a few years later. So we launched in 2008, and I did the book in 2012.
Okay, great. So tell us about clutter-free wealth investing.
So clutter-free wealth was an attempt to put into writing this passion I had for this idea of your goals leading all of that. Now, today you hear that phrase a lot. Back then, you really didn't. And what we were talking about is having these discussions with clients to decide, what is this money really for? What are you trying to achieve? And what kind of return eventually? It was a whole multi-step to get to that magic range of numbers. What kind of return will get you there? And is that return consistent with the asset allocation you're comfortable with? And once we identify that goal, and my firm does this on an ongoing basis, not only do we report your portfolio performance, we consistently report how you're doing versus that goal. And found that really helps clients and families, our target families, stay committed to a strategy no matter what the market is doing.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. So do you think a lot of investors do suffer from too much clutter or not being organized?
What we see a lot is that clients come to us having collected the investment du jour different places. Early in their career, they had a friend in the business, so they got they were sold an annuity. Then they got a few mutual funds because they got some bonuses, and that's what they knew to do. And so we have a lot of times that clients would come to us, as we talk about in the book, with a spreadsheet where they're manually following. I've got this here, I've got a couple 529s, I've got this annuity over here, and it's all different places, and it's become clutter. They don't have a big picture in their mind, and they have no idea if all of it is working together towards what they're trying to achieve.
Yes, I believe that to be true. So, Liz, now that you've got the strategy of clutter-free investing, how do you implement the plan? Like, what tools do you use? And you said it's more comprehensive than the typical plan. Tell us a little bit about all that.
So our typical clients are clients who have to worry about the estate tax. And that's where we think we really can add value. And that's partly what I mean by complexity. So we target multi-generational families who are concerned about wealth transfer, taxes, longevity planning, often next generation planning. And we take all of that into account as we're helping them with their overall investments. sometimes that lead generation doesn't truly need what we call financial planning today. Nothing's going into a financial planning program for them because it's much more about longer term goals and just making sure we have come up with a strategy and an allocation that gets them there. There's no question they have enough for retirement, they have enough for inheritance, but they want the comfort of following some type of goal that they've helped create together, to know that their money isn't just languishing, that they are both, protecting and growing, as is the typical goal. We'll be there to help remind them every few years that we need to revisit estate planning. Secure 2.0 just got passed. We're already off sharing where that helps people, what they might be doing differently because of it. So we still are investment focused at its core, but we help each generation wherever they are. So the second generation, we're absolutely doing what is the common financial plan. With financial planning software, we use Right Capital right now for that.
Right Capital, okay.
We will do interactive financial plans and help show people where they are and where they may be going. And that's a typical desire of that second generation. The third generation we're working with too, where a lot of times we're talking with a recent college grad and helping them learn about how much can you spend on rent, and you need this thing called renter's insurance. And, we're making phone calls in January to say, the 401k limit just went up. Let's revisit your 401k. Do you know how to log in? Let's do it together. Let's look at it. Let's update your contribution. So we're very committed to kind of meeting each generation where they are.
Great. And how many families do you work with at your firm?
We currently work with about 35 families. We think about it kind of as households like that. But, families going to be multiple generations usually.
Nice. Yeah. So to provide that kind of service, it would probably be an exclusive list, I would think, for sure.
We keep it short, and we also are very passionate about, the interaction and reaching out proactively. So I say that we can take care of, any wealth advisor can take care of about 15 to 20 relationships max. And so right now we have 3 wealth advisors.
Right. Fascinating. And are they all employees, or are they 1099? Yes. Okay.
No, everybody's an employee of the firm. There's 6 of us right now. Wow. We have a client service office manager. 3 of us are advisors, and we have 2 investment people, an analyst and a investment strategist.
Nice. So you had mentioned that you practice holistic wealth. This is the big discussion you're having now. Are there any other elements to it that we missed so far?
We missed the part so we haven't brought anyone in-house for all of those services. You didn't hear me mention an accountant or an attorney or an insurance professional, but clearly we coordinate and work with all of those. And our approach is to have a preferred Rolodex, as we used to say. So we have those relationships. We don't want to try to suggest that we know the absolute best person. We know some great people. And so sometimes the client will come to us with relationships they value, and we'll coordinate with those existing ones, or we will help bring a new professional into it if they ask for it or if they need it. But our role is to proactively reach out. At my old firm, one of the stories I would hear so often is someone telling me they just made 3 different calls, right? They had to tell their situation to 3 different people and didn't get an answer. And so I've always said, look, we're going to make those calls. We're going to reach out and share the situation so that when you pick up the phone and have the connection with your accountant, with your attorney, all the background's done. They know exactly in general what you're connecting on, so that they're prepared, that you don't have to keep telling your situation over and over again.
Right. So now you tell us that you've been there for 15 years. Is that right?
Yeah. This year we will celebrate 15 years.
So congratulations. That's quite a milestone. And back to the original founding of the firm, you didn't put your name on it.
No.
Why did you do that?
I came from a firm that was the founder's name.
Okay.
And as I left, I saw that I think it's hard to have an ensemble firm and a growing firm when you always have this weight around you with the names. And I wanted a name that we are Summit Place Financial Advisors. I know there are hundreds of firms that use Summit in the name. I happen to have lived in Summit, New Jersey, and wanted to launch the firm there, though our clients are all over the country. So I wasn't trying to find an incredibly unique name that said something clever about the service we provided, but I was very committed from the start that we were going to build a firm where everybody at the firm knew about everyone's client and worked together. Today we call that an ensemble firm. Back then, nobody was using the words. And as we launched the 15th year, I'm very proud that we are an ensemble firm. We have multiple professionals. Everybody will work on any client. If someone's out and we hear from a client, there's always going to be probably two other people very familiar with the situation who can help in the moment if it's needed. And nobody feels they belong to somebody, whether that's a client thinking they belong to someone or an advisor thinking a client belongs to them.
Sure. So looking back on all this, now you've got a 15-year record as having your own firm, a nice team that you've developed well inside your firm. What did all that background help you do? The analyst work, the money management work. Let's revisit that. How has that helped you build this firm?
First and foremost, I think it helped us build this niche because my background brought some deep expertise in areas that not everybody has. And so we are positioned as a highly experienced firm with some deep expertise. There are a lot of really good advisors out there that don't have to have the same level of expertise that we have. Not everybody needs it. And so we've definitely defined a niche. We've stuck to that niche, and part of that niche is the range of expertise we can bring to these unique clients. So that, I think, is part of what it's brought. But I think my background also brought some additional knowledge as we scaled the business. Having had a business background and bringing that along, I think it's not easy, as everyone in this firm knows, to go from having built a very successful practice yourself, maybe with an assistant or two, and really morphing that into an ongoing business. And that takes knowledge of systems, that takes a commitment to understanding to put a management structure in place, putting the operations in place, and really starting to structure that in a way that wasn't necessary when it's just I'm building relationships and I'm bringing on clients.
Right. Very interesting. And just for the younger folks out there, Liz mentioned Rolodex, and Rolodex was the early day CRM. And anyone in the Rolodex, we didn't even know what a CRM was back then.
Right.
Had all your clients on the Rolodex, and we all had one. So many folks still talk about people that have really good Rolodexes. And that means you're well connected. That's code word for you're well connected. Anyway, so Liz, the other thing I just thought of is if anybody was doing the math, they realize if you're 15 years in, that means you started right around 2008, and that was one of the worst financial years. The world was melting down. The world was awash with too much credit. All the the collateralized mortgage bonds were melting down, led to, the complete and utter meltdown, including some of the recent movies that have come out about that whole story. So anybody who was around who remembers that. What do you think about your timing when you started the firm? And what tell us about that era? What was going on, and how could you launch a firm in 2008?
So it was even more specific than that. The day I was to resign my partnership at my previous firm was September 15th. And I got in and saw the screen and saw that Lehman Brothers had just declared bankruptcy and that the market was in free fall. And I went into my office and shut the door and called my husband. And I said, have you seen what's going on? What am I going to do? And here's a shout out to my best cheerleader, for my many years of marriage, he said, you're going to go in there and resign your partnership as you planned, and you're going to go launch your firm. And I think if my husband hadn't been there to say that to me in that moment, I don't know what I would have done that day. But I did. I resigned from my previous firm the day Lehman Brothers went bankrupt, and we launched October 3rd. It was a really scary time to launch. I had no idea what kind of assets I was going to have or start with. But the lessons learned were this. One, since I was just starting out, it was very small. I communicated so often with those clients I had to start with. And I have taken that with me since. Anytime I hear people thinking of changing advisors, I find almost the top thing is, well, the performance is okay, but I really just don't hear from them and I don't know what's going on. And we really proved it in 2008. You just had to share what you were thinking and what you saw. And it didn't have to be right. It just had to give clients confidence that there's someone really paying attention minute by minute to what is going on in the market and is giving it purposeful thought.
Yes. Yeah, that's an important element of it, for sure.
I think the other lesson that in retrospect was great is I certainly had a lot of Wall Street peers who spent the next 18 months feeling insecure in their profession. And I didn't feel insecure because here I was and it was all on me. So it was a lot of pressure to figure out if I could launch and grow a firm. But I wasn't worried about losing my job.
Right. No one to fire you.
Nobody to fire me. It was all on me. And so definitely kind of learned to start building some business under fire.
So you built the business at a very, very difficult time, although in retrospect, when the markets were lower by March of 2009, maybe that was a great time to launch a firm because everyone made money after that. Right. And you were starting out. But I would say you certainly saw some challenges in the beginning. But once that all stabilized, you've got 3 advisors, you've got staff, you've got analysts. Now you built this firm. Could you share with us, as you have built the firm, what do you think your biggest challenge or challenges have been since you got to this point now?
I think the biggest challenge I spoke a little bit about, I think it's that, and I'm still on the journey of evolving a firm from being very founder-centric to having a team that feels engaged and a part of it. And it's a constant process of letting go. You launch a firm and you have control over your logo and your colors and what the top of the reports are going to look like. And, every little nuance. And some people find every one of those exciting. Everyone who truly launches a firm finds some part of it exciting. And you have the final word on absolutely everything. You change a system, you're the one, setting up that system to your exact specs. But if you're going to keep growing without doing the old, I'm merging with 4 other partners, or I'm going to, become $1 billion in 18 months by buying all these partners or whatever, we've just been steady organic growth. You've got to just slowly start letting go of responsibilities and decisions that previously seemed so important. And you realize, my leadership is now about mentoring and building additional leaders and helping all my junior people learn to take care of clients the way I think it's so important. And so you become more of a teacher, more of a mentor, and you need to learn oversight, not task.
Yes. So leadership is key. And is that how you work with client families as well? Is that a big part of it, leadership?
I believe so, yes. When we first work with a family, we may or may not be working with multiple generations. Someone is referred to us for their expertise. And we all know, we get clients all different ways, but the vast majority at this point are some sort of referral. Someone might be some networking referral or a client referral, but it's usually some kind of warm contact because our clientele isn't the type that you do mass marketing for. And sometimes, it's usually starting with them and they have some sort of challenge or something that's brought them to this point. A lot of times they just realize they've outgrown the situation they're in. They need more expertise. And we make it clear to them that we are happy to work with the rest of the family if they're interested. So they don't all come to us that way. We just sort of always put that on the table that says, look, we are here for anybody that you would like to bring in or who is looking for help. And we don't care what their resources are right now. This is part of our service. And we consider them all part of one family. And in that sense, we establish that overall leadership and coaching right from the start.
Nice. Yes. Clients need leadership, and it sounds like you're providing a lot. Liz, what do you see are the greatest opportunities now going forward? You're 15 years in, you've got a great program, a great experience. Where does it go from here?
I think that we've got a lot of runway, and I do think that the industry is consolidating, obviously, and I'm very supportive of that. I think it's going to be very exciting to create some national brands, if you will, for independent advisors. I think there is a growing demand from clients to have an alternative to a brokerage linked situation, to an independent situation. There's a full market for both of them. But there's also always going to be a market for the niche boutique. And clearly for 15 years, it's been a proactive decision that that's where we've stayed. That's the lane I've wanted to stay in, because I do think we have a unique service delivery and a unique enjoyment of that clientele. And we have a lot of runway to keep expanding that. I've been very passionate for the 15 years that we would never grow so fast that we couldn't deliver that really white glove experience to the families that we work with. We clearly don't play in the realm of multifamily offices. That's the next level up. But there's a lot of people who don't qualify for that, don't need that range of services, but still look up and realize we've got a lot of questions here and a lot of complexity, and we really need a firm that can help us address that with confidence and with comfort.
Nice. Well, great. Liz, how about our industry? Our industry is going through lots of changes. I guess every industry always is. The brokerage world is dwindling. Our side of the industry is growing. Do you see any trends that you've identified that will help you as you map out your strategy to grow?
I do. I think one of the first trends, and again, not new, but really just having exploded and is a great move in our industry, is this idea of financial planning. It's not that financial planning is new, but really, if you go back even 10 years, you did have a burgeoning and evolving independent advisor network, but a lot of them were not financial planning centric. You still would have clients who say, can I pay by the hour? Can I come get a financial plan? They didn't think of it as part of their overall financial view and financial advising. And I think that the industry is going to be really exciting going forward when we bring that as the centerpiece, or at least a side-by-side piece, to everybody out there. I work in a particular niche. I am blessed that we have very successful clients and we get to enjoy being with them, but I'm equally passionate that, my children who are just starting out in their careers deserve advisors and deserve someone helping them from the start wherever they are with that same approach. And that's where I think we're going. And I think it's going to be really valuable to lots of people.
It sounds like it is. Well, and it sounds like that's the hallmark of your firm, and it's a big part of why you're so successful. So tremendous. So Liz, I think we're coming to the end of our time, but you've seen a few of the episodes yourself, and I did want to just highlight that about 300 people will see this as we grow our readership or viewership, and then also in the podcast world. Then over the next year, maybe 1,000 more people will see this video, right? So imagine yourself in an auditorium. You're in Madison Square Garden, and all those people are there to hear from you. Is there a message that you'd like to send out to our brethren and sisterhood in the financial advisor world?
I think I would just share for those who are starting out that moving into the advising world has been so wonderful for me. And I just think it's such a misunderstood but amazing career out there. And it is a tough career to start. But every career is. You really need to make a commitment, and you're going to work so much harder than you thought to start the business going. But as a mother and a female and a family member, I don't know of a better career out there where you can help others, really be a part of the financial world and have a wonderful career, but also have balance that doesn't come with a lot of different areas of the financial industry. So I would, one message would be embrace this career and stick to it, because the long-term rewards are really wonderful. I think the ancillary piece to that is, I think, key to our success was really sticking with our niche. I think when you're starting out, it's really easy to feel like you have to go out after every opportunity that might be out there, and you really will be most successful understanding what you do best and being yourself, and building business just that way.
Well, congratulations, Liz. We did speak about that earlier, and many folks are coming to believe, as I've always believed, and you've come to realize, that this might be the best financial industry career that you can have, over being a money manager only, or an analyst, or an investment banker. You have so much control over your life, and you're a perfect example of certainly also a great career for women. And they get to nurture and take care of great clients, which is a tremendous thing. So, Liz, thanks for being with us today in the Financial Advisors Workshop. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, everybody. And we're going to be back with another great interview, but we're also this year for 2023 going to include some videos where we talk about the industry and things that are happening in the industry, things that matter. There's a lot of things that don't matter we see in newspapers, but we'll try to ferret out the things that really matter, different regulations, things that are coming, things that people should be aware of as we build our businesses. Sometimes we're so busy working in our business, we don't work on our business. So we're going to try and find ways to help people be aware of the great things that they need to know to run a great company or a great practice. So, Liz, thanks for leading 2023. We appreciate it. And thanks, everybody. We'll be back with some more interviews very, very soon. We'll leave it there, everybody.